Now joining us to talk more about these latest proposals and what they mean for international companies is Richard Wolff. He's an economist and a visiting professor in the graduate program at International Affairs at New School University in New York. Richard Wolff, thank you and welcome to the show. First of all, I was having a conversation with my producer, Matt, earlier, and we were talking about just to understand sort of the point of what we're getting into here, the difference between tax avoidance and tax evasion.
Well, it's a fuzzy differential, to say the least. Basically, what corporations do and what wealthy people do is move their money around the world for a number of reasons. To escape detection that they have the money from news reporters and from government agencies, to lower their tax bill, to make deals without letting the public know they're being made. There's a whole raft of reasons that have driven both wealthy individuals and corporations to avoid the taxes, sometimes using legal methods, sometimes using illegal methods, and sometimes using methods where we don't quite know which side of the law they fall on.
Well, I mean, isn't that part of the issue? I mean, the companies, if you talk to any company, they'll say, hey, we didn't do anything wrong. We're just going by the rules that have been set forth. But at this G8 meeting, I mean, they're talking about the sharing of information. They're talking about closing loopholes, for lack of a better word. Aren't leaders around the world saying, hey, look, this is tax evasion? And companies are saying, wait a minute, we're just doing what's in the best interest of our shareholders.
Yes, the leaders are embarrassed. We've had a number of revelations of just how big this problem is in recent years. The collapses in Ireland of the Irish banks, the collapses in Cyprus of the Cyprus banks, and so on, kind of lifted the stone so we could see underneath the vast amounts of money that are moving around the world to evade taxes. Yes, it is often the law that has been carefully rewritten and crafted to permit these corporations to do it. It's a little bit disingenuous for them to say, well, we're obeying the law, when you look back in history and see how busy they all were shaping the law to permit them to do exactly this. And if you look at the history...
One of the issues that's been brought up is this sharing information. Let's just say, for example, you and I have a business and we're working somewhere in Europe. It's really hard for regulators here in the US, or for that matter, anywhere in the world, to find out what exactly are we doing and where are we putting our money. This sharing of information, number one, are there any legality issues with it, and how will they implement that?
The problem isn't with the legality of sharing the information. They could have been doing that for decades. They have, in fact, periodically said they would do so, and it never really comes to pass. And even if it does, the companies are always 6 steps ahead, figuring out new ways to evade. But the basic problem is, no government agency can really follow the detailed movement of money and goods inside large multinational corporations that can easily make their profits show up here on Monday and in that country next year and in the other country in the afternoon. It is a very dynamic global capital market.
But Richard, if you're right, you're basically saying these companies are smart enough to find ways around the rules. What's the solution?
I'm afraid that if you don't bite the bullet, to be blunt, if you don't interfere in the private enterprise's ability to pretty much do what they want in the world, they're going to continue to evade the taxes, making it harder for these societies to function. One of the reasons we've had a global widening of the gap between rich and poor is precisely because right now they run the game and they're manipulating it for every dollar they can save.
Richard, I have a feeling there's a lot of folks that would agree with you and disagree at the same time. I want to thank you for your candidness, and thanks for being on Biz Asia America.
My pleasure.